beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Alchemist and The Oracle, a space where we engage in spiritualized conversations that deepen understanding, inspire transformation, and spark meaningful dialogue about life's most profound truths. I am Nicole Love Oracle, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Warriors Artist Sheer RN, the
What's up,
Alchemist.
peoples?
So, welcome to the Alchemist and the Oracle. Before we get started, show some love. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so, and share this video. All right, so today I am going to pass the ball over to the Alchemist, and she's going to lead us in a conversation. So there was something you wanted to have a conversation about. What was that?
Yes. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe. Put in the comments anything that you would like us to talk about, and please interject in the conversation. Well, this particular subject has come up several different times throughout the years, but particularly through this and in conversation with someone, they have brought that up. And I'm like, wow, that's a conversation that I want to have. And this conversation, my darlings, has to do with why we're not speaking to each other when we walk by each other or in public places, just giving a nod, just giving a shake, just giving a hello. And so discussion is, kind of, now it's like, well, why is that? What is going on? Because regardless, there's some of us can't help when we'll be born, and there's no apologies for that. But there's a time where, you walk by somebody and acknowledge them was just an honor. And for me, just a respect of your presence in the world, which is just saying hi. When you look at, and I'll get to that because it's saying in today's world, it has become increasingly common for people just to walk past each other as if we're not even there. And so doing some research, looking at some stuff, and even connecting with my inner self to why this may have been after having several conversations, and the fact that when I was speaking to somebody, they had brought it up, and I'm like, yes, that. And I know conversations with my goddaughters that regardless, because there's a time where it took it personal. And so, but it ain't personal actually, that regardless, that we will continue to say hi and speak to one another. So culturally, it's definitely frustrating to me. And it may be because of the nature of me, the love that I am and everything like that. But, it has become, this lack of social interaction has created this disconnection and isolation of one another. And trying to understand the reasons behind that is the reason for this talk and what we could possibly do about it. But I do get that some of the phenomena behind this, have that reality. For instance, culture shifts and that we become so individualized, especially when it comes to technology. So it says the reasons, there are several, more than you can imagine, the reasons why we're not doing it. And one of them has to do with the cultural shifts and the individualization that we come to part. And now, leading to us not to talk and to engage with strangers when that was not very much an issue. There's some other things that will come down the pike that will give you some reservation why, but we never know, because technically, if I go down, and I might be getting a little ahead of myself, which can do is the reason why I like to have notes so I can keep my mind kind of, because it goes places and it connects things and that most people might not get. So, which is a fear, because I would just have to say, regardless of whether somebody speaks to you or not, if something's going to go down, it ain't going to be necessarily because they speak to you if they're going to do something. But that's later down in our discussion and for you to chime in. But this whole modernized society emphasizes this individualization over community, leading us to focus more on personal tasks than engaging with one another, whether we know each other or not. And so that's one of the key things as well. And then, you know, because when we talk about culture, just like I mentioned down south, one of the real things that reminded me, and not even when I was in Cochran, Georgia, back, man, I tried to get back down there for a while, was driving in the car and somebody just raising their hand up at you. And he'd be like, oh, wow. Because I mean, in a little bit in the city, way back when, that. And a lot of people up north came from the south anyway, our parents and ancestors. But and then I'm down there waiting. I'm like, oh shoot, okay, they doing that. And so I was like, okay, this is good. And then this past last year, which time is flying, when I had to go down to West Virginia for a celebration of life. And we're on the way to the cemetery. And my God, I have not seen this, and I don't know if I ever. But maybe where here in the city you'd have to have a three or four of the cars that have to stop traffic here, stop the light here so people don't go, so you can come through when you're heading, in the line of people going to the cemetery or whatnot. Where there, I think there might have been one or none, only the lead car, which was probably the hearse, that the people just stopped. I mean, just stopped on this side, that side, and honored the person that had crossed. Only had one person who kind of skidded in because people are always in a hurry to go somewhere. But that was so embracing to actually experience in my car, that type of acknowledgement, because that's what we're talking about. So leading on to the next one, I'll let you chime in, is the technology and distraction. And the other one is people on the smartphone. I've seen somebody just looking in their phone and they out on the street. And I'm like, I definitely want to know these cars and where they going. I'm not going to be with my face like this walking. I might be listening to some, but I'm very aware of my surroundings. And people are on the headphones and in the smartphones, and it's creating it that most likely people may not notice you or the interactions around them, which that scares me, not knowing what's going on around you. So that has brought something in. And then going back, way back when, in the latest, when oh my God, just tell you how time flies by, in the um late 2000s or something, when this whole texting and all this was really, really getting into phase, where you had children who weren't communicating with each other, but were sitting by each other and texting each other and not talking. That was insane. I mean, I'm sitting next to you and you're not able to speak to me like we're talking here, and you're texting to me. And I'm sitting right next to you on this same little bench.
Mm.
The impersonalization that we can't, that's, that just freaks me out, because not having your voice and not being able to verbalize self, even if it's uncomfortable, because I know what that's like, because I know what they call it, the frog in your throat is like. It just seems to be that we've forgotten the connection that we have with each other, in such a way that I don't have to know you just to honor you, to say hi. And so those are that. And then there's the fear and anxiety people have towards maybe even the fear of rejection and social awkwardness. A lot of that is coming in, that some people have gotten so uncomfortable, so anxious around people, that we've isolated. So I'll let you chime in before I go further. And then there's a few other things that I see here that comes in together, including the urban, rural, and then I just mentioned, certain areas, including the South and this and that, where people, um, acknowledge you whether they know you or not. And then this whole thing where we're so separate, and then we won't even get into the other stuff about 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 race and getting all caught up in different cultures and that, and not all of us know each other's culture. And the only way we know is if you share it. So, and a lot of them, have certain ones where they don't speak in that. So I'll kick it back over to you and that there, just culture norms, and then safety. People are afraid for their respect and safety. But like I said, to me and what I'm feeling internally and as Alchemist is that whether you speak to somebody or not, if they have ill intentions, they're gonna have ill intentions regardless. But I think that is more likely that if we speak, our heart, our essence, our just our being, our presentness can also sometimes shift the situation in an instance. So we don't know. We don't know. Saying hi, smiling can just make somebody's day, acknowledging that they're there regardless to what they're going through. So regardless of what happened, it is my intent to continue to speak to you regardless. So what are your thoughts on this? It's really huge. It's really huge. We just
Um,
don't speak about the fact that this is going on a regular basis.
I guess the question I have for you is like, why is this a topic that you feel needs to be talked about?
Because it's come up. I mean, I was just speaking with somebody and I said that's a topic that we would be speaking about because I think our presence in the world is valuable. I think that we are here to give off and share energies that make us honor why we're here. You just never know. What is so cool is that I know that certain spirits connect with each other within, and I can go, and it's just like my mother was the same way. I mean, the last time we went traveling, we were out, we stopped at one of the rest stops and where they have the food courts and all that, and she ended up talking to a lady. And it just reminded me so much of me. And you could have swore they might have known each other for years, just the way they talk. But the fact that the age that they were probably similar in and the connection there and just the friendliness and that interaction was just so cool. It's just that love. And normally I notice when you travel, people are like that, just so much more open, so much more embracing each other's, and then you just don't know what you might learn. Um, and I think going back to a time where we honored each other's value. And I think today that maybe a lot of us, for the reason why I'll be going over some things that have to do with worth and this whole thing under perfectionism, that we um have these limitations that we have ourselves under. And if why would somebody speak to me? Why? What is it? You know, it's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange of love. It's an exchange of why we were here. If I was just here on this whole planet by myself, I probably wouldn't survive very long. It's connection.
Mhm.
And so sometimes you're in the grocery store and in conversation you just say somebody in a conversation come up and you're sharing and expressing. So we are more important than we realize to one another, whether we know of each other or not. That's not the important part. It's the fact that we exist here in this space, sharing this space with different backgrounds, different knowledges, and you never know what you can learn. I normally pick up something every day, and one of the things whether I'm outside or inside, is to learn something new every day, to grow forward, and to make an impact so we can live a lot happier, so we can embrace joy, because joy is something that is always there, but there's also something that's come up, and it was mentioned again in one of the summits that I was in, spiritual summits, and talked about that we came here with a forgot how to describe it at this moment, with a way that our pattern is to be not joy, and so we have to choose it, as we come into the world. And that's why I like to re-go over some of the things that I have listened to. And it just gave me this aha moment of how the ego might take you into this suppressive type of feeling mode, but we have to choose joy, understand what that is. And once we acquire and feel joy, regardless to what goes on in our life, and if somebody's walking down the street, we can be that light or that lift in with just a smile. The song Smile, Kirk Franklin. We look so much beautiful when we smile. There's just so much to us. So it's just like how all of us connected, me traveling and meeting people who I think are pretty awesome. And just having that connection, whether it's once, whether it's twice, whether it's for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
We matter. We have to understand we matter. And we have to get out of our head and connect and have this interconnectedness again. We're not separate. They want us to be separate so we can be controlled.
That's true. That part. Mm-hmm.
And one of the other reasons not to take the personal is to understand that people have put themselves in such a way that they feel that they can. So my thing is, and there's some solutions to it, bringing that, having more social interaction. I mean, there's a couple of events going on here where they built, well, I don't know whether to call it my school or not, but another school under the same name in a different area, in the same neighborhood, but having events and bringing together and trying to honor the history of our area with those who are still here or maybe left, come back, those who served in the military, things of that nature, and honoring that and those who grew up and were raised in that area. So that's another honoring each other, and we don't know if we know each other or not. Which means I have to gather. I have some military pictures that I need to gather to send to go into the history of the area in which I grew up in. And so it's so much, it's just this energy, it's just this joy, this connectiveness when we honor each other's presence, because we're not here by ourselves. Nothing can happen, even a job. If you're, applying for a job, you work with somebody else had to present that opportunity for you to even be in it to support yourself, you know? So I look at some people I mean, I have to be clear. I have a little bit of trouble. I think I'm pretty much an ambivert. An ambivert is one that maybe it might be a little on level. Some people might say that my extrovertedness is more than my introvertedness is even keel of introvert and extrovert. I do have a little bit of difficulty with introverts.
Why?
Um, well, I don't think it's difficulty. It's
This is
just that,
probably why you feel so, I don't want to say offended, but when people don't speak to you, you're kind of like, hmm.
yeah, but I'm not the only one. That's why the conversation came up. And when I was out and about at an appointment, a meeting,
Yeah, no, no, no.
and we were having this conversation that came up, they mentioned it, and I said, "You're talking about us
So
not
are
speaking to
they,
one
I'm just
another."
curious, would you say they're extrovert?
Possibly, possibly,
So
possibly.
here's where I land with this, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think I understand what
Because
you're
you kind of
saying.
introverted. Yeah.
Um, I'm an extroverted introvert, so I'm like I ebb between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think
You're more introverted to
that's
a
because I
degree.
feel into things, so you have to that requires you to be connected with like your intuition to feel into things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I understand, right? I understand this does need to have a conversation, but my question is like, why is this an issue to begin with? And it's like a layered conversation. I think you have some people who have anxiety issues, who
Yes.
I think it's hard for you to connect to other people to see the connection when you don't even feel connected with yourself. And I think that's where a lot of people are right now.
Yeah.
They're not they're so disconnected from themselves that how can you have the capacity to extend anything to anyone else if you don't even extend it to yourself? Because
Yes.
we only can relate from how we relate to ourselves. It's just how we're designed. So if I don't even acknowledge the greatness of myself, I don't have the capacity to do that to someone else that's authentic. That's for sure. Maybe it's
Right.
performative. I think you have a lot of people. And I think here in the South, a lot of that is very performative. I don't think it's authentic. I don't think that people speak or they wave their hand up and they don't see you. They see right through you. So
Mm.
I think the conversation is a lot more deeper than
It
saying like when
is.
you see someone speak to them, it's like I'm in a part of our country where there's this performative level of speaking to people, but it's not real. It's not authentic. They see right through you.
Mm.
So it's like,
Mm.
what does it mean? Like, what do you want from people saying hi or acknowledging you versus, like not even versus, but realizing how some people they speak to you, but they don't speak to you. They speak through you. And I think for me, I think because I feel like it's very dismissive at the same time how some people speak to you. So I'm like, just don't say anything. I'm good. So I think it highlights in a different way how you have people who don't speak at all, and then you have people who do speak but they're really not speaking to you. They're just performing. They're just very performative.
Now, that's why having a conversation with you or is just great. Well, you just hit on something anyway
Okay,
about
what did I hit
about
on?
about them being disconnected from their own beingness, their own, inner selves for which, you know, they were whispered and created into this planet. I mean, and then I think not taking it personal, which don't anymore, to think of it is as if somebody speaks back. Well, whether they see through me or not, they just honored my presence there. I've honored theirs as an aspect of respect or the divine in them. And whether they see through me or this and that or whatever, that's not my problem. Now that's truly not my problem. It ain't my problem when they don't speak either, as it used to be. But the fact that we don't is coming and showing that even more separation is happening versus connection, whether they're fully there or not. And because of some of the things in the research I did, was just talking about there's a lot of over busy minds. There's fear of that, and some people have this anxiety, And most anxiety comes from too far in the future, which is mean, oh, something's about to happen to me, or things of this nature, instead of being in the present moment and honoring that present moment as it is, which is a work in progress, and understanding who you are and whose you are, and the fact that we're here in this world together. Like I said, a culture or a generation, it has changed. And so we're looking at generations where we spoke when spoken to. We came up with honoring that creation that we are in the world. But it's not mine, as you say, if somebody's looking through me and they fake, well, they said hi to me. I'm gonna take that little essence and I'm gonna walk with it. Okay, I see you, you see me.
Do they
We're
really
not walking
see
around
you
here with,
though?
well, not in the
If they look
aspect in
through
which
you,
you're
they're
going.
not seeing, like, do they really
Well,
see
not
you?
that part because you're not getting to know me, but walking past each other's street or walking past each other in the mall, it's just like in the hospital. You got people walking around. And so when I do this research and I looked and I was like, aha. So most people are somewhere else, okay, which means they ain't present walking in the world. And some of us are walking there. We're not awake. We're all up in worry and fear, too far in the future, in the past, not present moment. There is no what I come to find out, and I have to keep myself stay present, stay present, stay present, warriors, stay present in that. But I don't know in that crossing our path, them seeing me or getting to see me, but acknowledging that I'm walking in this world and honoring our interconnectedness, whether it's fake, false, or injustice. I think the fact that I'm walking by you, other than now me understanding and connecting that you're somewhere else, you got 55 things on your mind that you don't even see me, or I mean, in an intimate environment like the hospital or a community, or I think community center, we're actually acknowledging each other in other areas, or in a store and I'm saying hi, or I'm walking the neighborhood, even a nod. Most people give you the nod. The nod, we know what that is, like, hey, you know, it's like, hey, yeah, I see you, walking by. Not so much that you're gonna see me now talking like we are, or how we know each other is a whole different puppy. And so I don't take it too personal, knowing that I know that somebody is feeling this way or that way. But sometimes just an interaction, and sometimes I talk to somebody and they're probably thinking, and I say hi, and they'll smile. They say that had a few years. I mean, and it just takes them away from whatever that is in that moment. Even myself, and knowing that our presence matters. Our presence matters in the world. How we exchange that energy matters in the world. But understanding that people are going through what they're going through is the reason that we're trying to elevate the consciousness in the world. That whole thing for those who are ready, and I hope more people will be ready to understand that everything isn't as bad as it seems in the moment, and that nothing stays the same for that matter. And even though when things I thought were good, I didn't like much change either, but I understand change is inevitable, and to change with it in a way that works for my greatest and highest good. As we were speaking a little bit prior to our thing, prior to us sharing this message here. Not everybody will be. There are some fake people out there, but if somebody ain't truly, but they say hi and give me the nod, I'm like, hey. But I know why I'm saying, hey, I know why I'm acknowledging you. And I think that's what the most important part is. But I do know of a culture of us and this disconnection, and then even the kids not being able to speak or not being able to articulate what they're feeling is causing a lot of stress and causing a lot of people to go to the ladder to leave this world prematurely, because they don't feel that they're being understood, because they're not able to articulate what they need. And then we have other people who have this higher education, who are so much educated that they can't connect to their heart to actually really hear or listen. So that's the interconnectedness that we need. Another thing, and when you talk about somebody getting to know you, is I have a letter that I have to write because not only God was a part of this process, the God that I understand, universe, however you choose to call your creative source, is that because someone knew me, my life was spared, that I'm still in body because they were aware and knew me at a certain aspect, that after my mother's death and setting up this appointment was divinely done, because I had technically left town with the possibility of going back, with the possibility of being checked out. And that saved me because they knew me and that I was not the chipper person that I was. Um, and come to find out that I had hardly any blood for my heart to pump, and I was still in body. So, and having these symptoms, but was so engaged in what I had to do. I knew something was up. I hadn't got real connected, and then something was missed here. That's all I have to say about that. And then having that and having that part where this person who's definitely connected with the divine, and that knowing this person in the way they did, that my life was spared for me to stay in body because of what they recognized. And then I had to rest. So I had to stay out of town for a month in a hotel for a month to rest with my Russian blue and build my blood back up because I wasn't producing red blood cells because my iron count was down. That type of connection, that's a deeper in connection with a physician that I love to this day. I love the one I have now too. And they know that I'll do hospital, very holistic, uh, um, and all the things that we talked about in the transformation that's going on within. So I'm really connected to people. I'm getting even more empathic than that. But to honor the love and the presence and to have somebody know me the way they did in that aspect is different. Walking past one another is like, you're here. I recognize that you are on this earth, that you're on this planet, and that you have value. You may not know you have value, but I do. The same way that I have to know that I'm more valuable than I've ever given myself credit for, even though I've done everything and spent all kind of money on me to be embodied, to be this person that's about to have a birthday next month. So,
Oh, this month.
and oh, we ain't there yet, baby. I'm still holding on to this March 31st. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but that's when this will be posted in April though.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, April. Here you come.
There you go. You
So,
guys know that we record this far in advance.
oh, never mind. Oh
No, it's
well.
fine. No, now they know. It's no nothing wrong with that. Sometimes
Well, you know
sometimes it
me.
is done the same week. Fair
Well,
warning
I
though.
wasn't even gonna say today. I'm just trying to hang on to the month.
You said March
Well,
31st.
I just did. I wouldn't have said it. I wouldn't have said it if you hadn't said
Anyway,
what you said.
yeah,
It's all
because
good.
um so back to what you were talking about.
Sure.
I think
Hilarious.
here's where I land with it, right?
Yes,
Because how can we I hear this all the time and I do recognize it. And I'm also aware that you just don't know what people are going through. And I think
exactly.
instead of being so frustrated about people don't talk to you, don't speak to you, don't acknowledge you, how can you not take it personal? One. And
Uh-huh.
it's just also, I think for me, because I'm in an environment where people speak, they just do it because it's performative. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't really see you.
I know down
I
there. Yeah, I feel you.
I don't I don't care that much about it
Right.
because it's not authentic. What I will say
Mm.
is that I don't let how other people show up in the world impact how I show up. And I think it all goes back to why why people are engaging in this way in the world is you need to connect to yourself. You need to have a sense
Mhm.
of worth, and then you're able to extend that to other people. I go into spaces and people speak to me and acknowledge me that see me. Those are the type of connections that I don't want to say mean anything, but
I
that
get that.
have greater presence, that add value to my life. The other ones, I mean, I look at people that just like walk right through you, and it's just like, do you not like? And I'm just like, okay, I pray. I say prayers on people all the time. Like I pray that um you don't knock into someone else, or may they avoid knocking into someone else. Maybe they knocked into me to send that prayer over them avoiding other people in the future, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And like you were kind of speaking about earlier about how you make it your focus to go out and to speak to people because you recognize the God in other people. That's where your focus, I feel like that's where the logical focus should go, not so much on these things aren't being done, but how can you show up in spaces to demonstrate how those things can be done? Because a lot of people don't know as well. I think we have to give people a bit of um, grace in their capacity to not know what they don't know, because like you're saying, we have a new generation of people that are disconnected, that don't know how to connect with people, that the only way they connect through people at a table is like through their phone. They're sitting there having conversations through their phone. And I think we have to meet people where they are, and not have expectations that don't honor their humanness, regardless of them being aware of their beingness, and the power that that can empower their life forward in some capacity. I think is a larger conversation. I think is very layered, but it goes back to people don't have a sense of themselves. And when you don't have a sense of yourself, your higher self, you don't see that in other people. How do you see that in other people?
I
Is
couldn't
kind
agree.
of like where my mind goes is like,
And there's no phones. No phones.
yeah,
Oh
I didn't
wow.
catch any of that. You didn't notice that I had left the meeting?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the recording stopped then.
Oh wow. Um, oh wow. Well, maybe it still work out, I guess. Um, what I was saying, I saw that and I sometimes it seems like you might still be present when the picture goes. What I was saying is that I understand where you're coming from in that. And it's not so much about taking it personal because I don't anymore for the reasons why you said what you said, the reasons that I come to find out, fear of rejection and social awkwardness. I remember um, not speaking to people because I didn't know you or things of that nature, but it wasn't so much like that. We were raised to speak when spoken to. And then I mean, it just became that thing to honor, hey, what's going on? So, and to understand there's a lot going on for me at going out or going to the restaurant. What's the use of going to the restaurant if you're going to be on your phone the whole time? The whole restaurant to eat, kind of chat, kind of catch up. So there's no phones. I don't play with my phone. Now, unless some come up or I see a call that I may have to take, and I'll say, excuse me, and I'll let them know what's going on, depending on the nature of it. There's certain people who I will answer the phone. Certain people can leave me a message. That's why I have voicemail. If you don't leave a voicemail, then I get back to you. It means it's not that important. So, and I want to be present with you while we're eating or why the reason why we went to dinner. Like my godson, no phones, talk to you. I want to know what's going on. How was school? What's going on with you? What was,
Yeah.
want to know. So, it's kind of like that. And so to have that presence because I care. Now, when I'm talking to people, I am authentically giving a shit. Excuse the expression. So, and things of that nature. And to honor that, the way we can go through it is I'm going to continue to model the behavior, giving the nod, continue to greet and just have a welcoming atmosphere. Most of the time I'll get some people to do it. Some people, I mean, it's just like, I be ready to say it, they just be like zombied out. And sometimes I can catch that and I just let it go. So I don't take it personal more because I know it's not about me. It has
Mm.
nothing to do with me. And so you just continue to go ahead and model behavior. Like I said before, me and my goddaughter we've had this conversation and she's kind of felt the same way. And she's younger than I, of course. So very much so. And so we decided that we would do it. And I like that aspect of that. My godson is a very, very kind and loving and that people person that I sometimes when I'm with him, I have to reel him in. He loves dogs. And we've had a conversation about that and how he can do that and I still be comfortable, especially when we're together when it comes to people. Because I still have to, still keep my, my protective, stuff up in there. Um, Another thing is, there's local programs. There's a lot of stuff that bring community together. Like I just went to a community event across town and it brought us together. Some of us talked. I saw somebody knew they didn't want. I was just gonna see how they was doing. But if you don't want to, then I just keep it moving. So, but to meet some other ones, I have someone that I need to call who wants to possibly talk with me and see about because of my background, military, to see how I can be, a factor there. And I'll consider it after we meet and just having that interaction and having awareness about the benefits of social connection. Having a place, like I said, at dinner where we have technology, they're talking about how we need to disconnect from this all the time. I just was at the optometrist I need to see again, and they asked me, are you on the computer a lot or are you watching the screen a lot? And I had to have a aha moment of how much am I on screen. I don't know if it's been on my phone, but it's been on my computer, the same thing because the eyes, they matter to me. And so I had to take a little setback and how long am I on screen?
Mm.
Normally, it's not interacting because I remember I did something when I first, not long after I found out that I had texting for free. Somebody told me. And somebody wanted to have this conversation, and we're texting back and forth and having this conversation. And I'm like, well, hell, I ain't got time for this. Whatever we could have said, we could have been on the phone and this would have been a done deal. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. That was just crazy. It
But
was crazy.
but you don't like to text either. You're not a texter. You're more of vocalizing using your voice. Some people it's easier for them to text. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but
No,
I just know that some people, I'm the person, don't call the text, you need to come and see me. That's how you can gain access to me. But I'm aware of that and I can communicate that effectively. But some people just, I have a friend, she texts these novels, and I'm like, girl, I love you, but I'm not well, I do read all of it because it is pretty good. Um,
uh,
she do be giving me some like, I'd be like, what?
but I mean, by the time it take me to respond, I mean, I could have said what I've had to say it, and we could have been done. For me, I see the purpose, but not for me to have full blown out conversations that I could have done in 30 minutes that take 2 hours. I don't,
What? A
cannot,
text?
cannot, I'm
Wait, you went
not gonna
from
do that.
30 minutes to 2 hours?
I'm
That's
talking
funny.
about on the phone, it would have only been 30 minutes, and then you're gonna go back, then I'm gonna go back, then I'm gonna go back, and we talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, no, come on, Um, I do it. I don't have, but I can have long drawn out conversations on the text that because I got stuff to do. I mean, I have stuff to do. I love the opportunity to do voice text. Let me get this out because by the time I say this, it would take me 2 hours and I can say it in 3 minutes.
Wait, wait,
Okay,
what
that was
takes
an
you 3 hours?
exaggeration.
What takes you 3 hours? What's the alternative that takes you 3 hours?
That
To
was an
text?
that was an exaggeration, but I'm serious. That's what it feels like. I mean,
Oh, that's what it feels
seriously.
like. So you
I
don't like the
mean,
text though, right? That's you. You're not a texter.
I text her, but I'm not a. That's
No,
not
let's be
my
real.
go-to.
Like, okay, text, phone, or voice um note. Which one is like
The
your
opportunity to
default?
talk into the phone and leave your voice text. But
Okay.
sometimes I knew people, if they're going to get the voice tech, they might not be in there where they can listen to it at that time, which I'm fine with. There's some
Yeah.
things that I'll throw in there where you can see it and most people can read it real quickly. I get that too. And sometimes I throw that in there. But I will text. I like the voice aspect of it because I can get it out than me trying to take a long, because sometimes it take me a long time to be typing this shit out.
That there it is.
Um,
There I was
Yeah, that.
the truth has been revealed.
It's for real too. Oh my God. I mean,
But
I
you
am
but
so
you
open.
highlight, I think, a because I think it's an important conversation to have is how can we build meaningful connections, I think is like
Yes.
what the whole purpose of this is, and just identifying some of the challenges to that, right? And I think my mind goes to how can you meet people where they are, and one, how can you meet yourself if you have like these frustrations in finding meaningful connections. And so how do we get there?
Well, some of the things were a couple of things I mentioned earlier. There, certain local programs where they bring the community together, just like the community forum that's coming up. People come and we learn from each other. I learned some things about the area where my elementary school was that I had no clue about now that I'm back here. And even though I've come here and spent some months here serving my mom and all that and just getting to go and getting her out and about because she liked to go out. She didn't want to be at the house all the time. And I'm that woman getting her on the interstate. I mean, um, acknowledging, the importance and benefits of social connection. That's one of the things is the challenge the social norms. And then technology free times like dinner and all this, it ain't that important. Unless half of the people who make multi-million dollars ain't on there like half the people on there, now unless they running doing a little business. That's a little different, and pulling away from that, except for to try to, as you're making a difference in somebody's, and then there's the encouragement of social education, which is to, integrate lessons of social etiquette and the values of simple courtesies like greeting each other. Just those simple things, the head nod, just that a little bit is not, is the realizing in the honoring that we exist, not to really like, hey, I got to get to know you. It's just like, hey, what's up? The nod or walking by, hey, but most of the time in the neighborhood where I'm walking, I'll normally, get a hi and you just keep on going. It's just that, you walking down the street. Hey, I see you. I don't see you, but I see that you here, that you present in body. I see you. or I acknowledge that we're walking past each other, and then you have parks, you have coffee shops where people say stuff. It's just like when I went to the area where they did the Field of Dreams movie up in Dyersville, Iowa. Beautiful, beautiful. First time I had no allergic to grass. I don't know what kind of grass that was. If I had the house, I'd get some of that grass. So, because I took my shoes off, put my feet in it, and then went into the corn where it wasn't buzzing. I went to center field. And so there's people, can you take a picture of me? Take a picture. We got a picture in the house, got a picture of the sign. And then can you take a picture? And then got the baseball. People bought the baseball bat. So we was up there, took a picture of them. That is classic designer. Just so cool. We don't even know each other. And we're just, doing each other this solid, things like that. And that's the community space. And then you got the community centers and just, one of the things is just one of the things it says to encourage people by just trying to, greet strangers for a week. Well, I'll do that anyway, and observing, the
You do,
responses.
you do. That's your default.
And so most people are going to respond. And even if they're in the bad, if they're not so much disconnected, they'll see that you gave a smile or a nod, a hi. And most people, if they don't even say hi, they'll smile. That's also a recognition. That is also, you smile. Not necessarily have to say you smile. And then a couple guys, depending on who they are and the men, they'll give you the head nod. And we all know
Mm-hmm.
that nod is, hey, all right. So there's other things like that. But we've created, modern life has created these barriers every day for social interaction and practical steps. We just have to do those things to just keep, this culture of openness and know that everything is okay. Um, and be more compassionate. This is the side that we've lost the compassion with each other. Um, and you just never know who's crossing your path that can help you. You just don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know. You hit a head nod. Sometimes I'll see somebody and then I'll end up seeing them again somewhere else. And they'll say, I saw you. I have to make sure it's me because I actually have some twins up in here still. I'll be like, no, that wasn't me. Got a
Okay.
twin everywhere. So,
Y'all, the government has
big
cloned her.
girl, girl, you have no idea. People be this close to me. I'd be like,
No, I do.
I
I
want
have
to.
all the ideas in the world. That's a conversation for
That
another
was
time
I was
and not
messing.
in this space.
Oh my God, I was messing with one of my girls. She knew it was me on TV. And so I'm like, I said, who? Because I am really humble about that shit. I was like, I was
Of
like, you
course,
sure?
she
I
would be on
said,
TV.
she said, I said, you sure that was me?
I
I
want
said,
to
I
play.
don't know. She's like that. I was like, yeah, it was me.
I want to play
Uh,
devil's advocate, right?
what's that?
Um, because I know a lot of people who, I'm very much aware that our devices really do kind of have rewired a lot of people's brains
Mhm.
as well to where they just don't have the capacity to they don't see anything, they literally don't see anything that's right in front of them
Mm,
because
mm.
their brains have been rewired to where they can only see something that's like on their phone or a tablet. I
That's
guess
interesting connection.
yeah, it's that's been proven, like literally proven. Thanks for this conversation. I think it's always important to be in continual conversation so you can understand people's perspectives and understanding behaviors of other people that may look
Yeah,
so different than yours as well. Because that's how you build or you cultivate the habit of leading from compassion is how I
yeah.
would I've come to understand it. So um, it's important to have conversations, even if you may have a
Yeah.
different perspective. Still have conversation. It's always beneficial, right?
Yeah. You brought up some stuff
So
from your perspective. That's what I love about us. And
I
this and just
know
having it. Yeah. So I
important.
thank you
It's
for having
important.
a conversation because I'm hoping that
Yeah,
it will
always.
bring some clarity and just some up-levelness for the reason why
Always.
it came about and for the people I've spoken with about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So keep with it. So we are doing a countdown to her birthday this month. Um, so she gets to choose the episodes um, for next week. And then the week after that, we're actually going to do an interview where you guys get to know the Warriors celebrating her birthday. And then
Hey,
we'll
hey, hey.
close out with another topic that she gets to pick. So it's her pick, her birthday. She gets to party it up how she chooses over the next month. So,
Yeah, I'll be at a birthday party on the 4th. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome
all right.
celebrating.
Well, thank you all for watching. Thanks for being in conversation with me again, Warriors. As always, I'm looking forward to what the next topic is. I don't know the topics until we she brings it up. So stay tuned for that. That's worth subscribing to, I think, to see how she may throw me off of like, oh, we're talking about this. Okay. So subscribe for that funny interaction or experience. And
Yes.
share, because sharing is caring. And comment down below. Let us know how you thought about
Yes.
it. If this resonated with you, leave your most used emoji down below because
Please do.
I'm curious to see what your most used emoji is as well. So with that, we're gonna leave it there, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Big
Thanks for
bye.
watching. Bye.
Peace.